Hamilton warned Ferrari would struggle at Spa. Ferrari responded with an upgrade that adds 11 kilometers per hour on the straights. The question nobody is asking is whether 11 kilometers per hour is actually enough, and everything about Hamilton's title fight depends on the answer. Hamilton said it on Thursday at Silverstone 9 days ago in the FIA press conference. At the Red Bull Ring, Ferrari was losing 0.4 of a second per lap on the straights alone. At Spa, he said the deficit could be twice as big, 0.8 per lap, for 44 laps. Nobody ran that maths publicly, so here it is. 0.8 per lap across 44 laps is 35 seconds of straight-line deficit over a full race distance. Mercedes doesn't need to outcorner Ferrari at Spa. They just need to survive Kemmel Street, which is 1.8 kilometers of full throttle, where the power unit is the only variable that matters. And Ferrari heard him, because they've just leaked a new rear wing for Spa, the Macarena Evo, that is specifically designed to add straight-line speed. 11 kilometers per hour faster on the straights, according to the Italian motorsport.com report published this morning. So the real question isn't whether Hamilton was right about the deficit. He was. The question is whether Ferrari's answer to it closes the gap or just makes it slightly less painful. Start with what Hamilton actually said, because the coverage missed the most important part. He was not just warning about Spa. He was describing something specific happening inside the 2026 cars that most fans have never heard about. At circuits like Spa, with long, full-throttle sections and almost no tight corners to recharge the battery, the MGUK, the electric motor that provides a significant chunk of the car's power, runs out of stored energy mid-straight. The engine keeps going, but the electric boost cuts off. And for a car that depends heavily on that hybrid power delivery, losing it at Kemmel means the car is effectively coasting on internal combustion alone for a significant portion of the fastest section on the calendar.
Lewis Hamilton run out of energy to the inside and taking second position. Side by side into maggots, and Hamilton keeps it pinned. Hamilton gets by, and the crowd loved it.
Hamilton put a number on it at Austria, 0.4 per lap on the straights. He said it's hard to recover through the corners. Now multiply that by Spa's layout. More sustained throttle, fewer recharge zones. That is where the doubled deficit comes from, not raw engine power, but the interaction between the circuit's energy demands and Ferrari's current battery deployment profile. The 2025 Silverstone Sprint qualifying speed traces confirm it. Hamilton's pole lap was 34 kilometers per hour slower through Abbey, 20 kilometers per hour slower through Copse. The Maggots-Beckett section, flat out in every previous era of Formula One, required lift and coast in 2026. Spa's Kemmel Straight is longer, the deficit lands harder, which means Ferrari's Macarena Evo isn't just a performance upgrade. It is a direct response to a specific problem Hamilton identified publicly, and the title fight at Spa depends on how well it works. The Macarena Evo is a new configuration of the reversible flap rear wing Ferrari debuted earlier this season. The original Macarena wing, named after the Ferrari engineer who designed it, opened a gap between the reversible flaps and the main profile under certain speed conditions, reducing drag on the straights while maintaining downforce through corners. The Evo version, according to the Italian technical report, opens that gap further. The wider light between the flaps and the main wing element increases the efficiency of the aerodynamic configuration at high speed, translating directly to higher top speed on circuits where straight-line velocity matters most. 11 kilometers per hour, that is the claimed gain. Spa's Kemmel Straight typically sees Formula One cars reach around 320 kilometers per hour. An 11 kilometers per hour gain takes Ferrari from roughly 309 to 320 kilometers per hour, closing most of the gap Hamilton described in that press conference. But here is what the number doesn't tell you. The 11 kilometers per hour gain is measured at maximum straight-line speed. The MGU-K deployment problem Hamilton described is not about top speed. It is about when the electrical power cuts off mid-straight before the car even reaches maximum velocity. A wing that reduces drag at the top end doesn't fix a battery that stops delivering before you get there. Whether the Macarena Evo solves the Spa problem or just addresses its most visible symptom is the question Ferrari's engineers are running right now. Hamilton is 32 points behind Antonelli, 7 points behind Russell. Spa is the last race before the summer break. Whatever gap exists after Sunday, July 19th, is the gap that defines the entire second half of the championship. Run the scenarios. Antonelli wins, Hamilton third gap goes to 47 points. That is the threshold where the maths becomes genuinely difficult. 12 races left after Spa, maximum 300 points still available, but with Ferrari needing to outscore Antonelli by more than 4 points per race average just to close the gap. Hamilton wins, Antonelli fourth gap drops to 19 points. That is a different championship. That is 3 good weekends from a lead. That is Ferrari arriving at the Hungarian Grand Prix, which Hamilton specifically named as a circuit that favors them as genuine title contenders rather than hopeful outsiders. The Macarena Evo is the variable between those two scenarios. If it works as advertised, Ferrari are competitive at Spa. If the battery deployment issue persists beneath the improved wing, the 11 km/h gain narrows the deficit but doesn't eliminate it, and Mercedes still controls the race on raw pace from the front. Silverstone complicated the prediction. Hamilton said he would struggle. He took sprint pole. Ferrari outqualified Mercedes for the first time in 2026, but the race told a different story. He was third, not first, and the straight-line battles cost him every time. Spa removes Silverstone's high-speed corners that gave Ferrari unexpected downforce advantage. What remains at Spa is pure power unit, battery deployment, and 44 laps of Kemmel Street. Subscribe now because the moment Friday practice data comes in from Spa, I'll have the speed trace comparison that tells you whether the Macarena Evo actually worked. That video will go up before qualifying. You need to be subscribed to see it. The question for the comments is specific. Hamilton said the deficit could be twice as bad at Spa. Ferrari brought an upgrade that adds 11 km/h. Is 11 km/h enough to close 8/10 per lap across a 44-lap race? Give me the calculation, not a take, an actual number. Hamilton warned about Spa 9 days ago. Ferrari built a new wing to answer him. The Kemmel Straight will answer Ferrari on Sunday. My verdict, the Macarena Evo closes the top speed gap, but not the deployment gap. Hamilton's concern was about when the battery cuts off mid-straight, not about the car's peak velocity. A wing that reduces drag at maximum speed helps, but the cutoff problem happens before maximum speed is reached. Spa will be better for Ferrari than Hamilton feared. It will not be Barcelona. The title gap after Sunday will be somewhere between 19 points and 47 points. Where it lands determines whether Hamilton goes into the summer break as a contender or a chaser. And after 8 weeks without a race, 8 weeks for Ferrari to work on the battery deployment problem, and for Mercedes to develop their own answer to the Macarena Evo, the championship that comes back in September may look completely different to the one that pauses on Sunday. That video on Hamilton's actual Spa data speed traces, deployment curves, lap delta to Antonelli goes up before qualifying. Subscribe and you'll have it.